Hi everyone, my name is Morgan. The person I decided to interview is a woman named Ireland O'Neill, a close friend of mine, but also she is one of my coworkers. Her and I both work as classified substitutes in the school district in our local city that we live in, and she possesses a lot of the leadership skills that I wish that I could possess as a leader. She and I, yes, work in the same district, but she is ahead of me just a couple of notches, and she has the career goal that I wish that I could have in the future. She is a couple years older than me as well, so it's one of those career goals that I can't have quite yet. But I went ahead and proceeded with the interview process, asking her a couple of questions of what leadership means to her, why it's important in our society today, and just kind of getting a feel for the career position that I would like to take, which is the one that she is currently in. So when I first started the interview, right off the bat, she was super excited, and she definitely had an energy of wanting to share her passion for leadership and why she thinks being a teacher is so important today. The first question that I proceeded to ask her is, what are some of your role models that scream leadership to you? And some of her biggest role models that she said was when she was in high school, she definitely was involved in a lot of the leadership programs that were offered on campus. And she says a lot of the teachers were definitely high role models for her, teaching her about why leadership is important, why it's used throughout schools, and why it's so big in our education system. And from there, she said she was strongly influenced of her teachings of then wanting to become a teacher when she graduated from high school. So the next question I wanted to ask her was kind of the same question, but in a little bit of different form. I asked her, why is being a leader in your career field important in today's society? She is a teacher, so already she said education is extremely important, and being a teacher is obviously something that students and people need in the world. And she thinks that it's so important, especially for the teacher that she is. She teaches mainly the elementary school kids. She says that it is important for kids at such a young age to learn why being a leader is important and why being outspoken and being open-minded and not so much opinionated and just kind of seeing things for what they are and not taking things from what other people say or do is very important. And she likes teaching her students at a young age that leadership and being a leader instead of a follower is the path that most people should take. So she'll teach kids, these things by activities and just kind of asking questions like, hey kids, like, what are some of the things that you like about yourself? Why do you think that you're a good person? Why do you think that you define yourself as a leader? Things like that. Even though the kids are between 5 and 7 years old, she really likes to do these activities with her kids. The next question that I proceeded to ask Ireland is, what characteristics do you personally feel define you as a leader? And right off the bat, she was extremely passionate when I asked her this question because she has a lot of confidence in herself as a leader as well as herself as a teacher. So some of the things that she said to me is she finds herself passionate, outgoing, a good listener, reliable. She said that she loves to spread positivity and optimism, as well as being kind to others, especially her students, and spreading the kindness throughout her students at such a young age. Leading into the next question, I wanted to ask for more of an example to kind of get a feel for maybe a situation that she went through where she could define herself as a leader or where she could really give the definition of what being a leader is all about. So I asked her, give us an example of when you thought you were a leader. Now, for this, she specifically picked a person in her family, but she also wanted to take the role as a leader as well. I guess a couple of months ago, she said she lost a really important family member of hers, and she had a couple of her own family members step in to kind of take care of the family and be there for others. But Ireland said that she was one of these family members, and she said that she wanted to uplift the family, and by doing that, she would want to take them out to go do things. She said one of the things that she did is take her family out on walks to kind of get the family a little bit more joyful about the loss. But she said that she felt it was her responsibility to make sure her family was okay, and she wanted to do this by calming everyone down, suggesting things to do if it was watching movies, just having simple conversation. Another thing that she said she liked to do is she liked to play board games with her family, but she felt this was an example of leadership because she felt like she needed to get the family happy again. And even though it was a situation where she felt it wasn't going to be an automatic sign of leadership. She definitely felt like it was a good deed that she needed to do for her family. When it came to closing the interview, I asked her multiple questions, but one of the main questions that I kind of wanted to close the interview about was kind of getting her strong feeling and opinion on leadership. And the last question that I decided to ask her in the whole entire interview process was, do you think leadership is important? Just in general, very broadly, not so specific. And she straight up told me, leadership is one of the most important things that could happen in the societies today in the United States of America. She said that leadership is something that everybody needs to have in life in order to be successful and to have a good living. And she said that leadership is something that necessarily can be learned and you can grow and develop through it, which definitely she mentioned a lot of things when it came to leadership development and leadership processes, but she thinks that it shows a sense of knowledge. She thinks it defines you as a character. It definitely speaks out about who you are as a person, either if you are in a classroom, if you are working at a restaurant, if you are working in the medical field, if you are working for a CEO of a company. Leadership is something that you have to obtain, and you need to have qualities and skills that need to be learned in order to be a successful leader. She says personally she would rather be a leader than a follower, and overall, I think Ireland, when it came to this interview, I think she definitely showed me signs of wanting to be a leader and why it's important in her career field, and it definitely gave me some insight on the position that I would hope to have. And if anything, this interview with Ireland made me more excited to hopefully one day be the teacher that she is for elementary school kids. So thank you guys so much for your time.